Now, here's another tool that I bought off of Amazon. This is the cabinet pull jig that you can purchase off of Amazon. This is actually one of the more expensive ones. You can buy the cheap ones. You can buy, but the important thing is when you do purchase something like this, that whatever pull you're using fits in the dimensions that you're purchasing. So if you're doing really long doors, which most of the higher end homes, most of those cabinet doors are longer, you need to make sure that this can fit the door that you're making. In my particular case, it does. Now once you get your jig, you kind of lay out all the parts here. I'm going to show you all the parts of what it looks like. You got your bar here. You've got where your guide is for your holes on each side. It's got a center mark here. So the first thing you do is you just take your drawer, slide it to 20. I said it was 12 and 5/8, so you divide that by 2, and you just go from your center mark here. You go from your center mark here and make sure that it is exactly center from here to here, and then you can check it. You can just make sure that the slide fits in. With this particular case, as you can clearly see that fits perfectly. Now I already set it up for you because some of this stuff is really simple. Then the next step is you can see there's 2 holes right here, and also there are 2 holes that line up there and on the other side, and that is what these particular screws are for. So all you have to do is put these screws in there. Get your Allen wrench. Really hard to, well, it's not that difficult kind of being a baby, but it's working with just yourself. Sometimes you have to kind of use your head of how easiest it is to get this to work with just without any help. You'll get used to it after a while. Usually when you just get started, it's more difficult. Now, I put this on the correct side, but I didn't really explain it to you. But if and it does make sense once you get this bar on, that you do want your center guide here to match up with the other holes. As you can see, this is in straight line. These holes are in straight line, although I'm not going to be using this hole. I'm only going to be using the 2 outside holes. Now there's a lot of other parts that come with this jig here, and it also comes with a little carry case. Now I kept it together. I like to keep my things organized, and it also has a little handle where you can hang it up on the wall. And I've been saying this from the very beginning. I like to hang things up in my workshop because hanging things on my workshop, you can see behind me, helps me find things really quickly, and flat surfaces are your enemy. Flat surfaces, all you do is you tend to put junk on it, and before you know it, it starts to really clutter up. But hanging things and having a lack of flat surfaces in your workshop is ideal because it forces you to clean up as you work. Now that I got my drawer front laid out, and like I told you earlier, you want to find the center horizontally and vertically. And when I mean horizontally and vertically, obviously the drawer is going to be like this. Okay, now I use the back side to do this, and the reason why I use the back side of the drawer to do this was because I had already marked where I wanted my dado, and I already marked the center, so I didn't go back and do it again. But just to give you guys a real good quick lesson in finding the center on something and double checking yourself, because like I said, it's very important that your pull be right in the center of your drawer front. Now, this literally is the easiest part of using this jig. If you have this center hole lined up with your two holes on the, or your two guides on the ends here, and you know that this here fits in the center, and there is a center mark here. If you see, there is a center mark. So it lets you know that you're in the center of that. Once you get that, you can lay this down, marking the center, and just double check just to make sure that your lines run into the center. Now, I'm not going to do this on every single one because this is the beauty of the jig. What I'm going to do is I'm only going to find my vertical center on the rest of them because I've already got this set up. And once I got it set up, all I have to do is hold it and drill it. Now, if you can see on my table here, I have a little indention here. So what I do is I actually just kind of flip this around like this. Now this is just a scrap piece of wood underneath it. It's nothing special. And then hold it like that and drill it. And if I drill it like this, obviously I'm not going to drill into my table because I have a little indention. I kind of thought that out. Actually, my dad made this table for me. Okay, so once you get it into place, and you know that you're in the center, these are in the center. I'm just using some clamps to keep the board from sliding, but that's up to you whether or not. I'm using an aggressive DeWalt type wood drill bit. It's got the guide tip on it, if you can see it. And basically, just now, the reason why I like using this is because once it grabs the wood, it doesn't slide. But that's the kind of drill bit that I do use. Sorry for the light. But anyways, that's a DeWalt type. I forget what they call it, but it's like an auger type. It creates like a little auger and then it drills in. And that way it keeps your drill bit from slipping. Now let's put the drawer, let's just make sure that it fits. So I just completed that. You could see I'm like right in the center, and it just worked out perfectly. Now that I've had this jig set up, I'm ready to go for the rest of them. The only thing I am going to do is I'm just going to check just to make sure that my drawer pull fits good on here. What I do is I just get it started. Don't tighten it down on one side. Then I get the other one, line it up. Now, if I wanted to spend some time on this, and I was doing a bunch of these, I'd probably create something for me to hold it up. But you can look at that. That's perfect. That's perfect. So Amazon, again, very impressive. These right here were maybe, I think, $27, a little less than $27 for a set of 10. I think that's a very good price for that. And then the whole jig for the cabinet pulls was like $70. Again, on Amazon. It's got a nice carry case. Highly recommend you guys, if you're going to start building your cabinets, this is the way to go. Now that I know that it just couldn't be more perfect, another thing you want to do is, now that you have this set up, you want to make sure that you take care of it and that you do check it each time you screw or each time before you drill, because if you don't, it can get misaligned if you bump it or something like that. Not very likely, but the last thing you want to do if you're drilling a bunch of these is get this off. Um, Again, I am using this this cabinet pull hole jig that I bought off of Amazon. It's like $70. And then another thing too is the drill bit's important. I'm using that DeWalt aggressive auger type drill bit. It kind of gets it started, keeps the drill bit from slipping, keeps your jig from slipping as well. And another thing too, and I don't know why, but these Ryobi tools, I have been just so impressed with Ryobi tools. One of the main reasons why I started purchasing them was because I live right across the street from Home Depot, and this is a Home Depot brand, but I am telling you, price and quality, it's just above anything. And then another thing too is just me being a mechanical engineer. They're made by the same corporate company that makes Rigid in Milwaukee. So I'm sure that they cross over parts because that just makes engineering sense.